So no matter who you are, I don't care if you're a high school dropout, I don't care if you're a college dropout, it doesn't matter. God doesn't need you to go to a church to know you. You just talk to him. So let's say you write a journal, okay? Dear diary. Just do it, dear God. Not that a lot of people, but some people still do it. But that's an avenue. Or just talk to him. In your head, out loud, however you want to do it. Typing. There's so many different ways. God wants to pour the Holy Spirit out on people. He doesn't need memorials and big to-dos to do it. He doesn't. He just needs the slightest open heart that's willing. That's even if you don't totally believe, just the slightest bit of willingness, slightest bit of openness. And that's all he needs, is that little bit to open the door wider. And he doesn't care about your education. He just wants to know you. Then you will know that following the Spirit is totally different than what the churches teach. The churches, and I was looking this up, they have hindered the Holy Spirit. They've become the very Pharisees of this day. Many people believe that some churches have indeed hindered people from truly knowing or experiencing the Holy Spirit. Common reasons include discord and divisions among believers, a focus on religious traditions and intellect rather than spiritual openness, and attempts to control or suppress the Spirit's manifestations and gifts with the congregation. It's so sad. It's very opposite that Jesus wanted. None of these are just the blind leading the blind. Fear of the supernatural or skepticism about charismatic expression can lead churches to discourage or even dismiss genuine encounters with the Holy Spirit, causing many to miss out on a vibrant relationship with him. It's so sad. The churches. Sometimes churches emphasize intellectual understanding over emphasize intellectual understanding, big mistake, or rituals. Same thing Pharisees were doing. Why God didn't go to them. Over the Spirit's dynamic work, which can limit transformative spiritual experiences and understanding. It's so sad. Yeah, they're quenching the Holy Spirit, which God was furious about in Thessalonians. Therefore, while the Holy Spirit is active and desires to lead all believers, institutional and cultural barriers in churches sometimes obstruct people's true understanding and relationship with the Holy Spirit. So, yeah, in Thessalonians, God says, do not quench the Spirit. Quenching refers to suppressing or stifling the Spirit's influence, often through neglect. That's another reason the churches are responsible. They just make it about, just say this prayer, get your head dunked underwater, and woo, I'm saved. But then you never have any relationship with God. So that would be neglect. Stifling the Spirit's influence, often through neglect, indifference, or outright disobedience. The other thing, especially in the Old Testament, and this is why God was disappointed by the end of the Old Testament, is the rituals. I've said it a million times, like sacrificing the ox or goat because they sinned, became just I got to go do this. But God was doing that so they would eventually come to know him. That was what was more important. It's sad because God wanted a relationship with his creation. It makes me feel bad for him. Not that he can't handle it, but but he has emotion. It talks in the Bible about don't make the Holy Spirit grieve, because the Holy Spirit has emotion. That's why it says that. None of these churches understand it. That's why Charlie Kirk being put on some pedestal, he was telling people that empathy is a new age movement. He clearly didn't know the Bible or God. There's a reason only God can replace, like, so here, God in the New Testament says, I circumcise the ears and the heart so that you can hear the voice, so that you're, have the heart of flesh, so you have empathy. And in the Old Testament, he was doing the actual, I want you to sacrifice your sons when they're born so that they're set apart. But in the New Testament, it's like, no, we need to grow now. We need to know God better and realize that circumcision we were doing in the Old Testament was a ritual because we were immature in our faith. Now we've grown in our faith, and this is what God was always going for. He circumcises our heart because all of it trying to bring us to him. And all of these people, all of these churches, whether it's the Pharisees, the Catholics, the Orthodox, all of these blind guides that are suppressing and hindering the Holy Spirit. Why? Because it's a threat to them. I think that's really what it is. It's that's why Jesus was a threat to the Pharisees. He was a threat to them because if he was who he said he was, what would happen to them? That's the same thing going on now. If any of these church leaders were really honest with themselves, they would sit back and listen to people that don't have all of their seminary school. Seminary school killed the faith because they all decided to go learn from this world what the Bible meant, and they were supposed to go to the teacher. That's how Jesus was overcoming everything, is that once he is inside of you, he speaks on your behalf. It says in the Bible, he puts the words on your mouth. So many people would see my videos and think, you're so angry. No, I'm not. It's conviction. If I was angry when I get done with the video, I would be getting done and be still angry. No, it's conviction. God pushes you. God uses your personality and puts the words in your mouth, as he says, to say, and convicts you to say them. That's why I'm always like, God, but I obey. I obey because he is the shepherd. If everybody did this, I'm telling you, the whole world could be transformed. But just like back when Jesus walked the earth, he knew it wasn't his kingdom because they all wanted these fake, phony preachers and pastors and Pharisees and churches to just let them be mindless. And I'm telling you, you don't even need a church. Because God, once he has truly the believers, he will find a way that you're all brought together in fellowship with him. He will. These people many of them don't want it. They've used religion just like they've used other things to control people. That's why, Jesus, the freedom Jesus was coming to offer you was true freedom in the sense that if everybody got on board with Jesus leading through each person, then the whole world would be different. But they've never given Jesus a chance. They want to force all these revivals. There's no need for big memorials or to do and all that. I mean, again, in Scotland, Marianne MacLeod's two aunts, Donald Trump's mother, Marianne MacLeod, the two of them and one minister managed to create an entire revival in the Hebrides just by praying. So once you know the Holy Spirit, you'll know that's the teacher. That is the teacher. And so many of these things often, especially because of what this world teaches, I often struggle and I'll go to God and just say, God, but the world is used, and he always tells me the same thing. I don't want you to listen to the world is going to follow the world. I'm separating you from the world. I want you to do different than the world because the whole world's leading the rest of the world astray. The Holy Spirit being within you meant God was operating within you whenever talking about his word or knowing his word. Believe me, that is the leader you want to follow. Once you know him, everything becomes different.